I've heard people say that guilt fades, that with enough time, the mind learns to forget. But I've lived long enough to know that guilt doesn't fade, it burrows. It finds the quietest part of your soul and makes a home there. You can smile, move on, even love again, but it waits, patient and heavy, like a buried heartbeat that refuses to stop. There was a time when I believed love could save anyone. That belief is what led me to him. He was the kind of person whose sadness felt noble, whose wounds made you want to stay. Loving him felt like rescuing something broken, and in trying to save him, I lost myself. When we first met, he carried an air of mystery that made him magnetic. He spoke little, but when he did, his words felt deliberate, heavy with meaning. I mistook his silence for depth. Only later did I realize it was distance, the kind people build when they have things to hide. I remember his eyes that night. They looked tired, cornered, like a man already rehearsing his escape. When he confessed, it wasn't in words. It was in the tremor of his hands, the way his voice cracked when I asked where he'd been. I followed the truth in fragments, a missing person, an argument, a place he shouldn't have been. And then came the words that changed everything. It wasn't supposed to happen. It's strange how calm I felt. How clear. The world narrowed into one truth. The man I loved had done something unforgivable. And yet, my first instinct wasn't to run. It was to protect him. That night, we drove for hours in silence. The rain turned into fog, the headlights cutting through a world that didn't feel real anymore. When we reached the riverbank, I could barely breathe. He opened the trunk, and I saw what love had made me complicit in. People think that crossing moral lines feels dramatic, like a scream or a breaking point. But the truth is quieter. It feels like holding your breath for too long and realizing you've already crossed. I helped him that night, not because I agreed with what he'd done, but because love had rewritten my idea of right and wrong. We buried the truth by the water, under soil that still felt warm from the rain. He said it would be the last time we'd ever speak of it. But silence doesn't erase sin, it amplifies it. For weeks after, I carried on as if nothing had changed, but inside, something had shifted irreversibly. I started waking up in the middle of the night, hearing the sound of water rushing even when there was none. I'd find dirt under my fingernails, though I hadn't been outside. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection and see a stranger looking back, one who knew too much. He grew distant after that night, like a man trying to outrun his own shadow. I tried to hold us together, but love built on secrets eventually collapses. When he left, he didn't say goodbye. He just disappeared, leaving behind the silence we both deserved. Months passed before the news broke. They found what we had buried, or rather, who. The investigation reopened, and his name resurfaced. Mine didn't. Not yet. But every word on the television felt like a whisper meant for me. I turned off the screen, sat in the dark, and waited for the knock that never came. People imagine guilt as a feeling. For me, it became a rhythm. A pulse that followed me everywhere. The sound of running water, the weight of rain, the texture of mud, everything reminded me of that night. Sometimes I dream of the river. In the dream, the water rises slowly, and something beneath it begins to stir. A shape, a shadow, maybe a memory. I always wake before it surfaces, but the fear lingers long after. I tried once to confess. I drove to the station, rehearsed the words in my head, even parked outside. The air always smells the same: wet earth, pine, decay, memory. I sit on the same rock where we once stood and listen to the water. It sounds like breathing. I tell myself that one day I'll speak, that I'll walk into a station and finally unburden what I've carried. But deep down, I know the truth. Confession isn't always redemption. Sometimes it's just another way of keeping the story alive. People think guilt destroys you. It doesn't. It preserves you, traps you in the exact moment you stopped being innocent. And maybe that's the real punishment. When I look at the river now, I don't see what we buried. I see myself. Because the truth is, the body isn't what haunts me. It's the part of me that died beside it.